Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I'm Mike.
I'm Jay.
And Halloween fucking update city titty.
Bangarang.
Shit. Who wants a mustache ride? I do. So, no big Halloween Kills news that has come out today, but we will really quick catch up a couple things that have happened over the past few weeks. The thing we don't want to do is do a Halloween update video every single time the tiniest little thing comes out, because we want you guys to know that when you come to our channel and we post a Halloween update video, it's going to be legit shit. We're not just like trying to take views out of it or whatever.
And mediocre as fuck.
That's always, you know it's going to be
Wild
mediocre.
Stallions for life.
But a real quick catch up before we get into the news story that I felt was really worthy of talking about. But to catch you up on the Halloween Kill shit, here's what's happened over the past couple weeks. Diva Tyler, who played, she was the groundskeeper at the cemetery in the last movie. Yeah. She posted this picture of her, as you can see here on Instagram, wearing a Halloween Kills hoodie.
Badass.
And someone asked her, they're like, oh my god, is that the official logo? And she was like, yes. Ooh. Now, she's an actress that's coming back for the movie, and she says yes. But if you do remember, look at that font does look good.
It looks badass,
good.
Yeah. It reminds me of like something like Drive with what's his name? Ryan Gosling. It feels like it's like spray painted with the blood, and it also kind of looks like American Horror Story 1984.
Yeah, I dig it. I think it looks good. Cool, yeah. I don't think though. Part of me, my chachkas, thinks that this is not the actual official logo though. Because
you think she just went to fucking Kinko's and printed that?
Well, no, because if you look a couple months ago, Ryan Turek at that pre-production meeting put on his Instagram stories this photo here, which is on our Instagram at We Watch Movie. Cling. He put this up and he was like, it's about to get crazy here. Not the official title font, just something I made for my production binder. And it looks eerily similar to that.
I mean, if they go with that design though, I'm okay with it. That looks badass.
Yeah, so. It's cool. And the only difference is that that's a little bit more blood splattered than this one is.
Yeah.
But there's been no name. Nobody's come out except for her to say it's official. This is the logo or whatever.
What's her name?
And it's so serious. Diva Tyler.
Diva Tyler. And I'm sure she's a lovely woman and I don't mean anything by this. But honestly, when I saw that for the first time, I thought it was Wesley Snipes in Demolition Man because he has the same fucking hair. Or like the Golden Lords from Meteor Man. Golden Lords.
Like without any context.
Golden Lords.
Another piece of tiny news that came out was Robert Longstreet, who's the guy who played Lonnie, is coming back, as you know, to reprise his role as Lonnie. And he's done some acting stuff and little character roles here and there coming up. But they asked him about the movie, and he said, "I don't think I can say anything about Halloween Kills except it might be the nastiest of all of them. It has some terrifying scenes in it."
Sweet, man. That's always a good thing. You want to hear that? Like, I mean, of course, like the whole idea of the Halloween franchise was never built. I mean, Akkad never really bought into the idea that it needed to be gory or nasty, and he was always against that for it being even nastier than it needed to be. I don't want gross gore for the sake of gross gore. Like, that's what Rob Zombie was guilty of. Like, sometimes he would do nasty shit just for the sake of it. It had no plot point whatsoever. Yeah. He's like, I want to say some weird shit.
Yeah, and even though the Akkads have always been against Michael being too gory, they've lost that battle on multiple occasions. Halloween 2018 had some good gore in it. Halloween 6 has some good gore in it, and he fought hard against that, but they ended up, the theatrical cut, all the stuff that happened with that Dimension ended up winning that fight. Yeah. But he's lost that fight on occasion. So this being extremely gory and extremely nasty makes sense, but you got to take it with a grain of salt because it's just like Jamie Lee Curtis came out last year before Halloween and she's like, it's absolutely terrifying. And I loved Halloween 2018, but it wasn't absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, she was. They're trying to sell a movie,
and also they're on the set. They're seeing this shit happen. Like if you might give me a set visit to Halloween, which will never fucking happen in all my life. But if you gave me a set visit and I watch one of those kills,
I'll give you one.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
I watch one of those kills, I might look at it from seeing it in person for the first time and think it's so much more hardcore than it actually is. And Christopher Nelson.
Well, you're not hardcore until you live hardcore.
Until you live hardcore. Step off!
That's so punk rock.
Step off!
So punk rock.
But and Christopher Nelson and the effects team with the gore scenes in Halloween 2018 did an amazing job. And just the name of Halloween Kills itself references itself to, like, okay, this is the one in the middle, the meat of the sandwich that's going to get fucking buku wild and crazy. And then we're going to wrap up the story points in Halloween Ends and do some maybe emotional shit and whatever. But I think we all think that Halloween Kills, by title alone, is going to be the goriest and the gnarliest of the new trilogy.
It's the Empire Strikes Back of the fucking Halloween series. That's what it's going to be. Dark. It's going to be depressing. It's going to be all sorts of weird stuff.
I want it.
Fucking Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be frozen in carbonite. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a tauntaun. But no, yeah, by the way, I'm just going to let you know, you need to really watch what you're saying, my sir, for Jamie Lee Curtis, okay? You need to raise your children better, not let them watch horror movies. Now, you shut the fuck up and get on the fucking
You mind your
wokeness.
fucking toilet.
You get on the wokeness. Get on the wokeness.
I'm just saying, like, I hope it is. I hope it is the nastiest, but don't put too much stock into that, because the last thing you want is everybody going to the theater expecting a super fucking grindhouse crazy fest and then walk out going, that movie was weak, when for all intents and purposes, it was the goriest of the franchise.
I think that, I mean, this guy, again, he's an actor. He's trying to promote the film that he's in. Well, I can't blame him for that. That's what you would do, obviously, if you're a part of something great like Halloween. But I would never go in expecting it's going to be, like, I feel like it'll be turned up a notch from Halloween 2018, which I'm expecting and I hope. But I mean, I'm not going to go in there with the expectations of seeing some wild, crazy, fucking insane shit that I've never seen before. I want to see some cool kills. I want to have a great story. I want to have a good time and eat some popcorn, y'all. Yeah. That's what I want to do when I go to my theater, and tell those kids to shut the fuck up before I put a knife in your face.
Oh, God.
Or
me.
Or a clothes hanger.
What'd you do?
To make it more theatrical.
So, and at the same time, too, he could be right. He could be right. Maybe it is going to be the gnarliest, fucking craziest movie ever. Who the hell knows? But again, it's like it director Andy Muschietti came out and said before it too. He's like, you're going to need a fucking diaper.
Yeah, I remember that. And Stephen King said something like, Stephen King said to the effect that It Chapter 2 was one of the scariest films he'd seen, or something like that. And then he also said that Pet Sematary was incredibly scary.
Stephen King's guilty of that a lot, though.
Look, I like the remake of Pet Sematary, not as good as the original Pet Sematary. That's my opinion. And I also think that the way they shot the original Pet Sematary with Zelda was way scarier than what they had in the new one.
He also fucking loved Dark Tower. So I mean, you know, Stephen, but I said no bad word about you, Stephen.
Stephen King sat on hill. His last name is actually true. King.
You big, me small.
Not going to fuck with you, sir.
But the funnest thing we want to talk about, not in reference to Halloween Kills, but just as the Halloween franchise in general, this is fucking titty farts.
Yeah.
This is nuts. Okay, so Quentin Tarantino did an interview with Consequence of Sound, and it was mostly about what's going on in Hollywood.
Is he talking about fucking Italians? Goddamn Italians!
Hey, don't cry in front of the Mexicans.
Goddamn Italians!
That's a line from the movie, by the way. But he did an interview with Consequence of Sound. It was mostly about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, all this shit like that. But there was a nice little blurb in there about the Halloween 6 film. And if you guys don't know, real quick, we did a whole video on this going in depth, and it's worth it to watch.
It was so close.
Really cool shit going on there. Yeah. But at one time in Quentin Tarantino's early fucking filmography, he was close to writing Halloween 6 before the Halloween 6 we got, and almost produced it as well. That fell through for one reason or another. We'll put the video in the link below.
Why do you do this? Why do you make me cry?
It hurts sometimes when I think about what could have been, Charles.
I was set to warn you, the devil's in the next room.
I heard that last night all the way.
That's a badass song, dude. I had never heard of it before.
I don't mind it. I like Shinedown, but sometimes their lyrics are just a little too cheesy.
I like it.
But they're good.
I like the cheesy.
Anyways, but on that script, the H6 script that was never made, here's what Tarantino had to say. He said, it would have been my job to figure out who the guy in the boots is.
A fucking asshole.
Boots at the boot store.
These boots weren't made for a walking. And that's just what they'll do.
And obviously he's talking about the Man in Black from Halloween 5, but he said, I was like, leave that scene where he shows up, all right, and freeze Michael Myers.
With sub?
I'm sure he doesn't mean literally like Demolition Man.
Like hang out for a second.
Freeze Michael Myers. And so the only thing that I had in my mind, I still hadn't figured out who that dude was like the first 20 minutes would have been the Lee Van Cleef dude, and which I'm assuming he's talking about the Man in Black. And Michael Myers or maybe he's talking about the leader of the cult. But anyways, and Michael Myers on the highway, on the road, and they stop off at coffee shops and shit, and wherever Michael Myers stops, he kills everybody.
No, I don't like this. They're like a buddy cop. They're hanging out and fucking driving, and like some people weren't made for the open road.
It's the big gulp, say? It's the first 20 minutes, though. So the first 20 minutes would have the Lee Van Cleef dude and Michael Myers on the highway, on the road, and they stop off at coffee shops and shit, and wherever Michael Myers stops, he kills everybody. So they're leaving a trail of bodies on Route 66.
I'm sorry, Quentin. I love everything that you've done. You really do make solid films, and you're one of the last bastions of fucking awesome that are left in Hollywood that says fuck you to the establishment. But that shit, what the hell is that? What the fuck is that?
I don't mind it, dude.
What is that?
Think about it.
No.
The Gecko Brothers, dude.
Oh my god, dude.
Dusk Till Dawn. The Gecko Brothers.
We do parodies of Michael and Loomis, and that makes sense on our shitty channel, but on that fucking particular thing...
I get it. Look, if director Mick G came out and said, I'm gonna do this, I'd be like, you shut your fucking hole.
What are they, the fucking Blues Brothers?
It's Quentin Tarantino, dude. So he would have done it in a way that would have fucking been awesome, I feel like.
I mean, maybe, but dude, it's at the same time, I would be thinking the Blues Brothers were on a mission from God. Like, every time how they would stop, and they would stop for fucking coffee and donuts, and I'm like, I gotta kill these people.
Or maybe he was thinking about the preacher and Loomis from Halloween 4.
Okay, but Michael doesn't talk, so does he nudge him like this when he wants to stop for donuts? All right, we'll go to fucking Dunkin' Donuts. Fucking dunk your fucking knife in their face.
But I can't help it. I know what you're saying. It sounds wacky, but you gotta think this is Quentin Tarantino. The guy has barely ever made a bad fucking movie. All right, so Quentin Tarantino.
We're crazy boys.
And think about the Gecko Brothers from Dusk Till Dawn.
I do think about the
first part of
Gecko
that
Brothers.
movie is the best part of that entire fucking movie.
But those guys literally are not serial killer, or one of them is a fucking non-talking serial killer from 1978 that's riding around with his
basically,
brother.
so is Quentin Tarantino for the most part in that movie.
The only way that could work though is if the goddamn guy had a like a necklace or something with like dice in it, like this is my runes. What I like about Michael Myers is the fact that Michael Myers is a force of nature. He's not something predictable. You can't hang out with him. He's not like a normal guy. He's a fucking storm. He's a century of fucking pain.
You right.
He's a fucking jaw shark.
You right.
So you can't control the nature.
But you're talking about a movie that ended up controlling him. I mean, they had him fuck his own niece.
He did do that.
So I don't know. I give Quentin, like, but okay. So let me ask you this though. Interesting question.
But if Brad Pitt was the guy in the black boots, and he's like, "You ever been in an Italian movie?"
Listen, if you lucked into a job and somehow you became the head of Trancas, and like Michael Myers was in your care, and your first day on the job, you sit down and they're like, "Okay, we have our first guy come in." Now, granted, he wasn't Quentin Tarantino back then, but if it was today, if Quentin Tarantino was your first meeting and you don't even know, you're like reading fucking Us Weekly, and he walks in, you're like Christian Bale in American Psycho. Listen to Lady in Red, like, oh, what's that?
Excuse me.
And you're sitting at your desk, and the first door opens up, and they lead Quentin Tarantino into your office, and you're like, oh my god, it's Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
And then Quentin Tarantino sits down in front of you. He's like, okay. He's like, I have this idea, and he tells you that right there, right there, because it's Quentin Tarantino, because you know how powerful he is.
Yeah.
What would you say in that moment? Would you really look at him and go, that sounds stupid? No, on the risk that you might lose him?
I'm going to tell you what I do. You know that meme of George C. Reilly that a lot of people post of confusion? I would do that. I wouldn't say no outright, but I would have the weirdest look of confusion. And I'd be like, what? I would do that weird thing. Like, I'd be like, hey, Quentin, it's so good to see you. I've got so many movies that I want you to autograph, and can I talk with you later on about like stuff that you've done? And he'd be like, yeah, sure. He's like, okay, so what's your pitch? Guess what? Michael Myers and his friend go on an adventure on the road, and they kill where they want to, and they fuck where they want to, and they shit where they want to.
First 20 minutes of the film.
First 20 minutes, they fuck where they want to, they shit where they want to, and they kill where they want to. It's the Addams Family.
What you want to do. Go where you want to go.
That's what it is. Bring up the Addams Family. We'll get MC Hammer on it, and I'll be like, listen, Quentin, I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say no. What I'm going to say is I'm going to confer with my colleagues and get back to you. This is what I'd say. And then as soon as he stepped out, like, fuck this shit. I would say, because
you told him no and you lost him forever. And then you end up with Tweedledam Twinkerdorf.
I would be able, if I was in charge, it wouldn't be Tweedledinkers, it'd be Tweedledumbers. But no, I would say I love your work and I want to work with you, but the 20 minutes is turd sandwiches. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not serving turd sandwiches today.
Let me pay for you a different way. You're not living inside my box.
I don't want to live in the box. I want to live outside the box and make fun of it.
Taco Bell. But all right, so yes or no? You can get Quentin Tarantino, but he wants to do it his fucking way or no way at all. You have to say yes, and this idea comes with it, Quentin Tarantino, or he fucking walks. You let him walk off of Halloween knowing you could have had Quentin Tarantino as his 10th and
I'll get back to you about 10 days.
Doing Halloween.
I need time to think.
You gotta say yes.
No, you don't.
That's the question of the day. I think you have to say yes.
Not with the, okay, if his pitch was that first 20 minutes right there, fuck a big old bull sack.
I would say yes. I think it might sound crazy to our tiny minds, but we don't understand the great mind.
It's not like the motherfucker's Michelangelo sculpting David.
Movies, he is.
It's true.
He is. So
I don't know. You know what's true though is maybe I would like say I'll say yes, but I hope to God he comes to his senses and fucking cuts that 20 minutes out.
On sequels and the familiar storyline in the sequels, he says, the first Halloween was fantastic, but the sequels were horrible. Yes. He continued, they're like fruit from a poison tree because Laurie is not the brother of the Shape. There's something far more scary that he's going through Haddonfield, and it's just her. Going on about the sequels, he says, Danielle Harris gives a fantastic performance in those movies. She does what she can to make it legit, but it's just that horrible idea that John and Deborah threw in or it's just that horrible idea that John and Deborah threw in the movie that ruined the entire franchise, talking about them being siblings or whatever. So, and Quentin Tarantino is a big Danielle Harris fan. He had her in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or whatever, and stuff like that. But I'm fine with what he's saying here. at first about the familial storyline. Like, Michael should be unhinged and free of all that shit. We've always agreed with that.
Yeah.
The problem is what he says next when he goes on to talk about Rob Zombie's movies, because he's kind of, in my opinion...
I feel like he's also... I feel like in that particular paragraph, he's also pretty much taking a dump on John Carpenter's face and saying, like, hey, I liked your movies a lot, but the familial thing, come on, man.
But we do all know John Carpenter wrote that movie on a 6-pack in 20 minutes.
Get better.
But I think John Carpenter even
I'm not saying that Quentin Tarantino doesn't know what he's talking about. Obviously he does, but it's John Carpenter, okay? John Carpenter versus Quentin Tarantino about who knows horror better. Like, you know how to make great movies, and no doubt about it, like, Quentin Tarantino is one of my favorite directors, but you going after John Carpenter in some way and saying, like, come on, man, do better.
But I think John Carpenter would agree with him in this.
He would agree. He would
look at Halloween 2018. He technically agrees.
The familial, because he liked the fresh idea take, and that's okay, because there had been like 8 movies after that sucked, or 7, but that didn't suck, but they had their own ups and downs.
But I do think there's a huge part of Carpenter that regrets ever doing that. Because he didn't want to write that script.
It'd be the original 1978 script.
I'm talking about Halloween 2, where he made him brother sister. Because obviously they weren't.
I know, and I'm not saying but that's hindsight's 2020. But I'm just saying, like, at the time it worked, and it wasn't like the worst thing in the world.
I don't actually have a problem with it necessarily until what he says about Rob Zombie. Ooh. Because in my opinion, he's kind of talking about both sides of his mouth here.
He says he needs some.
Sorry, you're big Miss Small once again. But he says, on Rob Zombie, he says, I'm a big fan of Rob Zombie Halloweens. When I saw the first one, I didn't like it at all. I didn't like the aesthetic. I didn't like everything that he added to it. And then the last hour just becomes this fast-forward remake of the first one. What the fuck is all this shit?
Yeah.
8 months later, I watched it on video, and I really liked them once I got all the preconceptions out of my head. That kid is really good. I mean, what did I think Rob Zombie was going to do with it? Do I want him to do something else? I like his sand, pick, and paw aesthetic. So now that I didn't have a bug up my ass about it, I was actually able to appreciate it. And again, it's that kid who got me into it, and Daniel Harris is fantastic. He goes on to say that he also liked Halloween 2 because it sets Michael free. He doesn't have to be tied down to that franchise and all that shit. And that's the part that gets me about what he said about John Carpenter, because if you're going to say you like Halloween 2 and what they did with it, Halloween 2 tied Michael down tighter than any of the movies did. With the whole thing about being tied to his sister and going after her and the white horse and all that. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, depending on whether you like it or hate it, that movie tied Michael down and gave him a direct motive more than anything else do. So if you're going to say that I like Michael Myers not to have a motive, which you're right about that, he is scarier without a motive, without a backstory, with all that stuff like that. You're absolutely right. He is. I totally agree with that. But H2 is in direct the opposite opinion of what he was saying.
H2 is in the violation of everything holy.
It's just cool to hear Quentin Tarantino talk about Halloween. What do you guys think about all the stuff we talked about today?
Yeah.
And we love your fucking faces. And if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button to get some goddamn wham up in you. And don't forget, WeWatchTheMovie.com is live. Everything We Watch the Movie is going to be at WeWatchTheMovie.com. Go there, subscribe to the newsletter. It's at the bottom of the site, and you'll get all the shit we do. Revenge of the Action Movie, We Watch the Movie, news stories, podcasts, everything we're going to be doing from here on out. It's all going to be there, as well as the YouTube stuff. So have a nice fucking day.
I mean, shit, Seth. These were like my only pair. Would you shut the fuck up? We'll get more in Mexico. Oh, yeah, like they'll have my prescription.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie. We watched it. We watched a movie. Yeah. You know what? We did a review. We watched a movie. We watched a movie.